Good morning, class. How are you today? Oh, great. I hope you're all doing well at home and in all of your subjects despite of this pandemic. And we just pray that we are all safe, especially our friends, relatives, and all the people around the world to be free from COVID-19. Okay, and let us never forget to ask the guidance of our God. Let us stay hopeful at these challenging times, alright? Okay, may I know now if you have a good internet connection so we can meet now in the Google Meet? Okay. How about those who have a poor internet connection? Can you join us? Okay, don't worry because I will be uploading a record of our discussion for today. So for our code, we have HUTKKKLMNO. So please join us now. Is everyone here already? Okay, so if we are already complete, may I ask Marinel to please lead us a prayer. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, thank you, Marinel, for that beautiful prayer. Now, I will be showing to you the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, is it visible, class? Okay, thank you. And before we proceed to the presentation, we will have a warm-up activity. Do you like that? Yeah, I know that you like this kind of game because you will enjoy. At the same time, you will learn. And the name of this activity is Sent and Says. I know the name is really familiar for you. Sent and Says. Sentences. The word sentences. And for the instruction, it is very simple. Just type sent on the chat box if the sentence is a independent clause or a complete thought. Otherwise, type says, CES on the chat box if you think that the statement or the sentence is a dependent clause or an incomplete thought. Okay, is the instruction clear enough with you, class? Okay, so I know you're all ready, so let's start now. Okay, look at the PowerPoint presentation. We have here 5 sentences. Now let's recognize them. Number 1, you must work hard. Sent or says? Okay, everyone got the correct answer. It is sent or an independent clause. It is a complete thought, right? Number 2, the doorbell rang. It is a sent or a says? Okay, very good, class. The answer is sent. Number 3, if you want to succeed in life. Okay? Analyze the sentence. It is a sent or a says? Okay? Okay, so congratulations, class. You are all able to identify an independent clause from dependent clause. Now, what is independent and dependent clause again, class? Anyone can answer? Right, you're all correct with all your answers. And additional to that, an independent clause and dependent clause can be combined together because they are the building blocks of a sentence. And if you will ask me that, Mom, isn't it that an independent clause can be a sentence itself? Okay, that's a good question because the answer is yes. An independent clause can be a sentence already. But remember that a dependent clause can be used to make a sentence more interesting and more complete. And with the use of what? Conjunctions and punctuation. So what are these punctuations and conjunctions again? Can you give me an example? Okay, very good. You still remember them. So now that we were able to identify the 2 clauses that creates a sentence, I believe that you are all ready to learn our new topic or our new lesson, which is type of sentences according to structure. Okay? So, before anything else, we need to know what is our learning objectives. Okay? So, to be clear with our path in this topic. So, read with me. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to identify independent and dependent clauses in a given sentence. And we're already done with that from our warm-up activity. And B, differentiate the types of sentence according to their structure. C, demonstrate understanding of sentence structure by constructing sentences of each type. And D, lastly, appreciate sentence structure by relating it into the real-world context. Okay, how many do you think is the type of sentences based on structure? Yes, there are exactly 4 types of sentence structure, and these are the following. We have simple sentence. Number 2, compound sentence. Number 3, complex sentence. And number 4, we have compound complex sentence. So let's first have the first type of sentence, which is simple sentence. From the name itself, it is really simple. Very simple. Okay? So for the definition, it only contains one independent clause. And we already defined many times what is independent clause, right? So to repeat it again, an independent clause has a subject and a verb which expresses a complete thought. Okay? So we have here a list of examples. So number 1, let's analyze the first example. I kick the ball. Okay? Where is the subject? Okay, the subject I. And what is the where is the verb there? Yes, the word kick. What did the person kick? Yes, it is the ball. And do you think that this example or this sentence already express a complete thought? Yes, it is an independent clause because it is clear that someone has kicked a ball. And number 2 example, when we have she knows how to cook. Okay? And let's identify first again. Where is the subject? Okay, the subject she. And where is the verb? Anyone? Okay, the verb is knows. Very good, very good. And again, do you think that this is a complete thought or an independent clause? Alright, it is also an independent clause or a simple sentence. Okay, there is a subject and a verb that expresses a complete thought. Number 3, example, the girl smiled so genuinely. Okay, the subject, right, girl, and the verb, smiled. The girl smiled so genuinely. Is the sentence clear? Do you think it's clear? Alright, the sentence is clear. It's very clear that the girl is smiling. Smiling how? Genuinely. And next. Okay. So your clue is that it has only one independent clause, okay? Remember that. That is your clue. And I would like to ask you to give your own examples of this type of sentence. Okay? Who will start to give his or her example? Okay. Marianelle? Okay, that is one example. Claire? Thank you. Very good. Aryan? Okay, very good. All your examples are correct and an example of a simple sentence. Another type of sentence structure, we have the compound sentence. But first, what do we mean by the word compound? Are you familiar with this word? Yes, Marinelle, you are raising your hand. Precisely, Marinelle. When we say compound, it is something that is composed of two or more elements or parts. So therefore, we can say that a compound sentence is a sentence that is composed of two or more independent clauses. Okay? So maybe you are wondering, Mom, what is the difference between the first type and this type of sentence? So a while back we say that simple sentence only has one independent clause. But here in compound, as we say compound, it has two or more independent clauses. So we added one. Okay, we added another simple sentence. So let's just say that a compound sentence is equivalent to two simple sentences. Okay? And another difference is that here in compound sentence, you need to use a proper coordinating conjunction. So, why do you need this? Because this will be used to combine the two independent clauses. Okay? Remember to use the proper coordinating conjunctions. You are already familiar with that. And you can search on the internet on the words, the coordinating conjunctions. So, let's have our two examples. Number 1, let's read. The shoplifter had stolen clothes, so he can run once he saw the police. Okay, let's analyze it. How many the independent clauses do you see? Alright, there are 2. And where is the first independent clause? Sylvester? Alright, the shoplifter had stolen clothes. Yes, Michelle? Alright, the second independent clause there is, he can run once he saw the police. And the coordinating conjunction is the word so. Very good, class. Okay. So, there are 2 independent clauses in this sentence joined by a coordinating conjunction so. So, number 2 example. Mickey is washing the dishes and Pia is watching movies. So, there is a 2 event or 2 situations, right? And there are 2 independent clauses as well. The first independent clause is Mickey is washing the dishes, and the second independent clause is Pia is watching movies. And the 2 independent clause was joined by a coordinating conjunction and. Okay? So this is also a compound or an example of a compound sentence. Okay, is it clear with you? Is the compound sentence clear already? So we can proceed? Alright. So I want you now to give your own example or give your own sentence of compound sentence. Okay? You have 3 minutes to think. I'll be waiting. Oh yes, Sylvester, you are volunteering. You want to recite already? Okay? Alright, very good. That's an example of a compound sentence. And you use the coordinating conjunction, yet. Okay, next. Who wants to recite? Yes, Michelle? Alright, that is also an example of a compound sentence. Yes, Marinelle? Okay, for the last example? Yes, okay. That is also a correct example of a compound sentence. Okay, so now you should give your own examples of a compound sentence. Yes, Grizel, you are raising your hand. Yes, that is an example of a compound sentence. Very good. Yes, Michelle. Okay, that is also correct example. Okay, let's have the last one. Niza? Alright, okay, correct. So, every one of you have a correct example. You have provided a correct example of a compound sentence. So, I want someone to differentiate the 2 types of sentence that we have already tackled. So, just briefly differentiate the 2. Yes, Francine, you're raising your hand. Okay. May we listen to Francine? Very good, Francine. So, that is the main difference between simple sentence and compound sentence. Okay? Don't be confused. Moving on to the third type of sentence structure, we also have the complex sentence. And what do we mean by the word complex, class? Alright, Sylvester, you are raising your hand. Very good. So, a complex is something that is consisting of two or more interrelated parts, but it has a characteristic of difficulty and complication. So, unlike two compound sentence, a complex sentence now is containing or composed of one independent clause joined by one or more dependent clauses. And these dependent clauses can either lack a subject or a verb, or both can have a subject and a verb that do not express a complete thought. So, another characteristic of complex sentence is that it always has a subordinating conjunctions to connect an independent clause to dependent clause. So, do you have any question? Okay. Oh, yes, Michelle. Oh, that's a good question. So, you're asking, or Michelle is asking that what is the difference between a coordinating and a subordinating conjunction? So, there is really a main difference. When we say coordinating conjunction, it connects two independent clauses, okay? So, that's why we use that only in compound sentence because there is two independent clauses. But here, in complex sentence, we have one independent clause and one dependent clause, so we need to use a subordinating conjunctions, okay? Did you understand? Is it clear? Or did I answer your question, Michelle? Alright, okay, so let's move on to the examples of a complex sentence for you to further understand. Okay, let's read. Although Tom reads novel, Jack reads comics. So, there is one independent clause and one dependent clause. But let's recognize, okay? Where is the independent clause in the sentence? Yes, Sylvester? You're correct. The sentence, Jack reads comics. How about the dependent clause? Yes, Marinelle? You're right, although Tom reads novels. But did you notice the subordinating conjunction in the sentence? Yes, the word although. Okay, it is in the first word of the sentence. So, another example, we have this. All of my brothers are doctors while I am a teacher. Where is the independent clause? Alright, all of my brothers are doctors. How about the dependent clause, class? Right, while I am a teacher. And the subordinating conjunction used was the word while. Okay, so the two clauses, or the independent clause and the dependent clause, was joined by a subordinating conjunction while. So this is a complex sentence. Okay, now that we know the complex sentence, I want you to give your own examples of this type. Okay, for those who haven't recited yet, this is your turn. Yes, Michelle? Alright, that is a correct example of a complex sentence. Yes, Lyra? Oh, that is also correct. Last example? Yes, Judy? Correct also. So, we can now move to the next type. For the last type, or the fourth type of sentence structure, we have the compound complex sentence. So, from the name itself, it is now a combination of compound sentence and complex sentence. That's why it's called compound complex. So, if it's a combination of a compound complex, what does it contains then? Okay, it contains two or more independent clauses joined by at least one or more dependent clauses. So here, you may be asking, or you might be asking that, Ma'am, what do we use? A coordinating or subordinating? And the answer is that you can either use a subordinating or coordinating conjunction depending on the clauses that you will, or the type of clauses that you will connect. Okay, are we clear? Okay, so here, it will be a little bit tricky to identify this type of sentence because since it is very long. But let's have an example for you to further understand, okay? Let's read. Jana, please read. While Tom reads novel, Jack reads comics, but Sam reads only magazine. So, there are how many independent clause? Yes, there are two. How about dependent clause? Yes, there is only one. So, it is a combination of two independent clause and one dependent clause. Okay, where is the independent clause? Jack reads comics. Yes. How about the other? Sam reads only magazine is another independent clause. Yes. So where is the dependent clause? Alright, while Tom reads novel. Okay, so that is a compound complex sentence example. Let's have the second example. After the practice, they went home already and they bought some snacks. So how many independent clause do you see? Alright, there are two. How about dependent clause? Yes, there is only one. So this is also a compound complex sentence. Okay, do you understand the concept of compound complex sentence and the other type? Okay, so very good class that you are really participating in this discussion. So I would like to ask someone or anyone in the class to give us a summary of the 4 types of sentence structure. Anyone who would like to volunteer? Oh yes, Sylvester, you are raising your hand. Alright, very well said. That is a summary or the main difference between the 4 types of sentences, okay? Always remember that. As you can see, I have provided you a summary table of the 4 types of sentence structure, so it's easier for you to remember or recall the concepts of each type and to know the difference between the constructions of each type, okay? So the first type is constructed with one independent clause, okay? It is very simple. You just need one independent clause. For the second type of sentence, we have compound sentence. So here, it is constructed with or composed with 2 or more independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction, okay? So the third type, we have the complex sentence, and this complex sentence contains one independent clauses joined by 1 or more dependent clauses, and we will always use subordinating conjunctions to combine the 2 clauses, which is a dependent and an independent clause. So lastly, compound complex sentence. It contains 2 or more independent clauses joined by 1 or more dependent clauses, okay? And here in compound complex, you can either use a coordinating and subordinating depending on the clause, okay? Depending on the clauses that you will connect, okay? Are we clear? Okay, so copy this summary table. Or just save it because I will give the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So, knowing the 4 types of sentences, I know that you are ready to have the activities. So, I have prepared 3 activities and I will explain to you each instructions. So, for activity 1, you need to identify whether the sentences are simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. And after identifying, you need to underline the dependent clauses where it applies. If you have seen or if you notice that there is no dependent clauses, so you can just leave it there. Don't put any underline. Do not do underlines. Just state the type of sentence, okay? So let's have, for example, number 1. Michael wrote a love story. Okay, let's have this as a bonus. Okay, what is the type of sentence structure? Okay, very good. This is a simple sentence. Okay, so just write there, simple sentence. Oh, is there a dependent clause that we need to underline? Okay, none. So, you don't need to underline na. Because there is no dependent clause. But if there is, you need to underline. So, for activity 2, the instruction is construct at least two examples of each types of sentence structure accurately. Okay? So, that's it. Two examples of each. Okay? Please always observe correct punctuations and correct conjunctions. For the third activity, you just need to construct a 2 to 3 paragraph story applying all the types of sentence structures coherently and observe correct punctuations and conjunctions. This is worth 15 points. So, any story that you think, okay, be creative as you can. Any topic can do. Okay? So, you may answer these 3 activities for 15 minutes. Is that enough? Okay, you may begin now. If the time is not enough, you may continue it next meeting, okay? Before we end our discussion for today, I would like to ask you this question. Why is it important to study the types of sentences according to structure, and what happens when we combine sentences, namely the independent and dependent clauses? So, anyone? Or all of you? Much better. Okay, Jana? Alright, that's a good realization. That is very true. And Sylvester? Right. So, to synthesize all your realizations about the importance to study the type of sentences, it is really true that we need to study the 4 types of sentences because it is a part of our daily lives. We communicate every day and we need to be proficient or competent in our future careers, right? We can apply this. This is skills. This is actually a skill already if we know how to combine sentences. But be careful with the right punctuations and right conjunctions, okay? We will also learn here the grammar. And it will really benefit us every day because when we write something, especially when we need to comply to our activities like essays or any written performances, this can really help us to provide a complete sentence or a complete thoughts that creates a big impact to our readers. It will be a lot more fun to read, right? And so, for your assignment, I would like you to research about the kinds of sentences according to function. So, if we studied the structures today, tomorrow we will study about the 4 types of sentences according to function. So, that is a different thing now. And just pass it next meeting, okay? So, it's already on the LMS. So, that would be all. And thank you so much for participating to our discussion for today. Please keep safe, and I just hope that you learned something new from our discussion today and be able to apply this on your daily life, okay? Consider all the rules and appreciate that these 4 types of sentences need to be used properly, okay? And I know this will be beneficial for your future careers and it will be an opportunity for you to improve your writings, alright? And This will be a guide as well for our grammar practice. Okay, so see you next meeting. Goodbye and thank you again.